I'm Candace Campbell, the Vice Chair and incoming Chair for Southwestern Ontario's Chapter of Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. London does have a strong manufacturing sector. It's always been known as a bit of a manufacturing hub, dating back to about 100 years ago. There was a big automotive sector here. With our proximity to Windsor, Detroit, automotive has always had a storied history here. Now, you did mention food, and you're absolutely right. The food processing sector is probably the fastest growing subset within manufacturing here in London. One of the reasons is obviously our access to fresh water. London has access to one of the best freshwater supplies in the world with a dual pipe system. It's also kind of our location in the midst of the rural community. So we have access to all the raw materials that a lot of food processors will use. If you think of like a Dr. Oetker pizza factory, they're taking, fresh fruits and vegetables. A Labatt brewery is going to take a ton of fresh water. So that's kind of why we have that growing food processing sector. One of the parts within food processing that's growing quickly is the natural products and artisanal products spaces. So companies like Nuts for Cheese, for example, or Abuch Organic Kombucha, these new healthy alternative type companies are growing quickly as well. We recently landed the Maple Leaf Foods investment, and if you think of like a Maple Leaf or a Cargill, which is here producing chicken nuggets for McDonald's across Canada, even these large traditionally meat packaging type plants, they're even creating alternatives as well. I think London's in a really unique space when it comes to FDI and attracting investors. And there's a lot of different things for that. One is the existing cluster of manufacturers that already exists here and the robust supply chain. So, foreign investors will see that and they'll see the success of international companies that have been successful here in London, and they're more intrigued to do business here. We have a lot of German investment, for example. London uniquely has this abundance of industrial land that's already shovel ready, large parcels, and that's because the city has actually been a little bit forward thinking in the sense that the City of London purchases this land, it services it, and it's ready to go, and the city sells it at a very affordable rate. So I think that that's another great reason why investors are attracted to London. Another one would be the access to the talent. So London has, Western and Fanshawe and a number of career colleges. And, in these colleges, we've got some really great programs in engineering. And I think that access to talent is obviously a very important factor for consideration when companies are looking to invest overseas. Our proximity to the US border is absolutely important. Obviously, a lot of these companies are doing business with countries outside of Canada. They want to be able to tap into these other markets, so that's super important as well. As the Southwestern Ontario Chapter of CME, we meet once a month, and we've continued to meet virtually throughout this time, and it's been really, really great to see that the companies for the most part have stayed steady and sales have stayed strong. Obviously, some sectors are a little bit more resilient to economic downturn than others. If we think about food processing, for example, people always have to eat food. So a lot of the food processing companies either stayed steady, some of them were even hiring and expanding. If you think of other, companies that maybe sell a luxury consumer good, those companies would have been a little bit more impacted. But where I was really impressed was to see what companies did to kind of stand up and to pivot their operations to be able to create new operation lines to do like essential gear, PPE, testing devices. There were so many different companies that kind of put their hands up, from like Bosco and Roxy's, which started making like bread, to a lot of these apparel type companies were making PPE and masks. It was just really, really heartwarming to see the way that the manufacturing company bounded together. If I think of the Southwestern Ontario Chapter, for example, our group is basically comprised of a mixture of manufacturing company plant representatives as well as manufacturing supports. So we've got representatives from the municipal, federal, and provincial governments. A lot of them are managing some of these programs. And I think I'd like to just acknowledge the fact that I don't think those folks have ever worked harder. They're working longer hours than they've ever worked before because there's just been such an influx of different companies looking for what types of support they can take advantage of. And, shout out to them. I think that obviously when you're facing a time like this and everyone's just kind of learning as we go, it can be challenging. But I think the response time was really quick. And the goal was just to try and help companies. So they came out with programs to try and get the funds into companies' hands as quick as possible. And I know that, companies of all sizes took advantage of these funding programs. And a lot of the funding programs allowed companies to kind of stay in the game throughout this time. If they did see their sales drop, there was programming to help kind of cover the costs of employees up to 75%, for example. So personally, I've been pretty impressed with the government's response. We actually do have an NGEN representative on our local chapter as well, so I'm fairly familiar with the organization, and I think that they will continue to play an evolving role, especially as Industry 4.0 becomes more important, and they're kind of, in my view, a catalyst that helps to kind of connect companies to different technology companies and help to de-risk that technology adoption. Canada is a little bit behind other countries when it comes to Industry 4.0, but obviously, even especially if we think of like the last few months, companies have been forced to kind of think ahead and to become more technology focused. So I do see NGEN playing a growing role, especially as we continue to evolve. And I think when it comes to foreign direct investment, for example, having a group like NGEN helps to kind of help us advocate for the reasons for investing here. So if you're a brand new company and you're looking at the Canadian market, NGEN can help to kind of fund some of those technology processes that you might be considering implementing here. London has a growing technology sector, not only in the manufacturing support side, but just in traditional tech. We've got companies that are doing, a lot on the robotics side, actually helping come in and evaluate processes and create custom equipment, or they've got, standard equipments that they're already able to share. We've got a really growing sector in advanced materials. So we've got companies using composites, for example, like Diamond Aircraft and Hudson Boat Works are two great companies that are growing quickly and using composite materials. So we see that. And then even, on the talent side, Fanshawe College has programming to help support those kinds of growth as well. We've also uniquely got, because of that automotive history, there is a pretty robust sector of technology companies that are supporting the automotive side. So I want to say there's probably at least 2,000, if not more, people employed just in kind of automotive technology, which is kind of unique, and that's a testament to the way that clusters start to form. And what's already here is kind of what helps to kind of dictate where things are going to go in the future, not only on the talent side and the programming at the schools, but in terms of what technologies are spinning out as well. I'm very passionate about kind of the future of manufacturing talent. And if I could just speak on behalf of the Southwestern Ontario Chapter of CME, I know that one of our biggest conversations that we continue to revisit, and our entire mandate, quite frankly, is focused around promoting and supporting education in manufacturing. I do think that there's a bit of a misperception when it comes to manufacturing careers, and people make the assumption that it's a dirty and dying industry, which is absolutely not true. There's fantastic career opportunities in manufacturing, engineering, and the skilled trades. These are well-paid jobs. The plants of today are very technology-oriented, as we just discussed. There's great benefits, good salaries. So I think that there really is, that misperception that needs to be eradicated. Like, students need to recognize that these are the careers of the future, and there's just fantastic job opportunities. And I think that really does start at the high school level or even before, and that manufacturing really does need to become a part of the conversation.